In this WrestleTalk news, Jon Moxley pulled from AEW, Vince McMahon not liking Bray Wyatt, our review of NXT and more. Super click the subscribe button and enable notifications to always on for daily wrestling news videos.
Support WrestleTalk!
Jon Moxley was scheduled to take on Orange Cassidy on tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite, where he was expected to win, advancing to the World Title Eliminator Tournament final at next week's Full Gear to face Bryan Danielson. But real life has understandably scuppered those plans. AEW President Tony Khan has posted on Twitter, "Jon Moxley has allowed me to share with you that he is entering an inpatient alcohol treatment program. Jon is a beloved member of the AEW family. We all stand with him and Renee and all of his family and friends as he shifts his focus to recovery. Jon is making a very brave choice to get help, and we're embracing his choice and supporting him however we can. I'm proud to call Jon a friend, and like many of you, I'm also a fan of Mox and look forward to a time in the future when he is eventually ready to return to the ring. Until then, thank you for supporting Jon and respecting his privacy at this time. If you or a loved one need help, please reach out to the National Helpline. The details for that are in the video description below." Many fans and wrestlers alike have tweeted their support of Mox. Cash Wheeler posted, "More respect than ever for Jon." Leo Rush tweeted, "Mox is a good dude, one of the real ones, pulling for him and Renee during this challenging time." And Joey Janela shared, "I consider Jon a good friend of mine, generally a wonderful dude. Some of the stuff he's done for others on the low is the stuff of legend, and I hope to see him again soon. All the love to him and his family." Picking up on Moxley's behind-the-scenes awesomeness, David Bixenspan tweeted, "I won't share any non-public Jon Moxley as a mensch stories because he's usually somewhat private about it. So I'll remind you that when he donated $5,000 to Don Wright's family after their fire, he scrambled to retroactively make it anonymous so nobody would think he did it for PR. Jon has had quite the 2021. He and his wife Renee had their first child in June. When the independent wrestling world opened back up, he made it his mission to help smaller promotions and wrestlers by taking multiple bookings in often hardcore bloody brawls, which saw him become the GCW World Champion in September, and him wrestling as recently as last weekend for Wrestling Revolver against Jimmy Jacobs. His recent matches on AEW have been some of the most intense of his career. And as if all that wasn't enough, he released his autobiography yesterday, Tuesday 2nd of November, in what many people are already calling one of the best wrestling books ever written. He won't see it because he's famously allergic to all things social media, but start a "thank you Mox" chant in the comments. At the very least, it'll help us all cope with that weird feeling of seeing someone you respect and admire go through something tough. And if it moves you to do something more, if you or someone you know is experiencing similar issues, there's the number Tony Khan mentioned to contact, and the link to our Support Each Other page at WrestleTalk.com in the video description below for mental health resources in your area. It's time to awkwardly transition from real life into goofy wrestling stories now. There's no easy way to do this, so I guess subscriber crab. Pay attention to the subscriber crab and forget about the world. On Monday's episode of Raw, Big E told Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins that WWE wasn't Mount Rushmore. There's only room for one face of the red brand. And Owens replied saying he gives every match his all, whether he's got 3 months left or 3 years. This is widely seen as a reference to KO's rumored AEW move early next year. His WWE contract reportedly expires in January, and backstage officials apparently don't expect him to re-sign. Meanwhile, the Mount Rushmore name that keeps coming up was the name of KO's faction with AEW stars the Young Bucks and Adam Cole. Is there anyone those guys haven't been in a faction with? Such faction whores. Faction whorefare. Now the Bucks themselves appear to have responded to KO's reference on Raw, briefly updating their bio to read, "Meow." No, not the noise Bearcat Lee makes when he's excited, but the acronym for Mount Rushmore of wrestling. Many have also pointed to a photo Adam Cole posted in 2016 of the Bucks, Owens, then called Steen, and himself together before he started in NXT, with the caption, "A bond that can't be broken. What a reunion." While KO's potential case is him intentionally choosing to leave WWE and go elsewhere, in Bray Wyatt's situation, he was pushed, and not the good kind of wrestling push. Like a "you're fired" push. And now even more details have come out on the reasons why. Despite being one of the top merchandise sellers in the company, WWE released Bray Wyatt on the 31st of July, citing budget cuts. And since Wyatt, now going by Wyndham Rotunda on social media, non-compete clause expired last Friday, a large number of conflicting reports have come out claiming to be the real reason he was let go. Andrew Zarian first reported that the budget cuts reason was utter bullshit, instead citing Bray being difficult with some performance issues in the ring and he had some weight issues. Ringside News' source then added, between Bray's backstage antics and the way he handled himself when making millions and millions while medically flagged, he really deserved to be released. Ringside News' source has now listed even more reasons Bray was fired, claiming he was difficult to get along with, he was hard to find when needed, and when he had time off due to medical, there was always an issue with his appointment. That led to even more frustration. The article also denied Bray was making money for the company at the time of his release because he wasn't part of WWE's return to live events. So he was a moneymaker based solely on his merch, not at his contract level. Apparently the problems grew larger and larger and he was eventually let go, surprising the many ongoing third-party partners who are including him in their projects. But how much should we rely on Ringside News' source? Thanks for your support on Patreon, the Kessel Run DX Solo, and Ryan Disco Stewart. You can get your own shout out in the WrestleTalk news by going to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Luke and I were talking about the Bray situation and reports yesterday, and he pointed out how familiar this story appeared to be. WWE release a top-level wrestler, not much is heard about them for like 85 days, and then, funnily enough, on the week their non-compete clause expires and they're free to debut for another promotion, reports and rumours start to emerge about said wrestler being difficult to work with or never having made any money. Wyndham himself has hinted as much on Twitter, replying to that very article saying, now that we have Johnny and Bruce's opinion, I would like to share mine soon. A reference to John Laurinaitis and Bruce Pritchard in WWE management, aka Vince McMahon's Yes Men, suggesting behind the scenes WWE figures are intentionally burying Bray to harm his prospects elsewhere. Fightful Select, an incredibly trustworthy source, has given more of a well-rounded report on what went on backstage, which pretty much amounts to Vince McMahon ended up just not liking the guy. Apparently Bray had always been outspoken when he thought creative was bad. This intensified during his final storyline in the company with Randy Orton. There was said to be significant frustration from both Bray and Orton that their 6-month feud never actually had a true creative endgame at WrestleMania. The finish was actually changed to Randy winning 2 days before the show. In fact, other WWE superstars approached Orton and Wyatt afterwards, saying how bad they felt about the match change. Leading up to that, Bray also had major frustration around the burned Fiend angle, specifically the size, weight, and movement of the suit. Though Wyatt hasn't confirmed this himself, the creative team was told that he believed it was too heavy, was going to look bad, and it would be difficult to move inside it, so it was scrapped. But despite all that, the creative team were told around July time that Wyatt had been cleared to return to the ring soon, but was then released. Hardly anybody behind the scenes believes the budget cut reason, and Bray's firing made other top talent scared for their jobs. There were numerous people backstage who said that Wyatt was outspoken when he thought creative was bad, and by the end, some felt Vince McMahon just didn't like him due to that. Rotunda is of right now a free agent, but don't expect him to see him at your local Armory Hall Indie show anytime soon, as GCW owner Brett Lauderdale has told Wrestling Inc. his understanding is that I don't know that our world is very appealing to Bray Wyatt, which translates to Wyndham don't want to do indies, and he's saving himself for a bigger wrestling company. AEW's Tony Khan has said he's interested in him, but denies having had any talks. Wyndham Rotunda to New Focus Wrestling confirmed. Now here's Tempest's review of last night's NXT 2.0 in about 5 minutes.
Just so sexy. What's going on, WrestleTalk friends and fans? Tempest is back with another review of this week's NXT 2.0.
in about 5 minutes. So this show opens with the
Just so sexy
Mandy Rose, who comes out as the NXT Women's Champion and basically says that she's
just so sexy
before she was interrupted by Io Shirai, who came down to the ring, started brawling with Mandy before Toxic Attraction and Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter came out to even the odds. This was a pretty solid opening segment. I'm still not seeing a ton from Mandy Rose that I'm not seeing in Carmella or Eva Marie, but if you are going to have her be NXT Women's Champion, Io Shirai is a fantastic choice for a first challenger. I hope that's the direction we end up going with NXT. It's always hard to tell. I'm gonna give this opening segment a 3 out of 5. Then we got our first match as Cora Jade took on Dakota Kai. If this is gonna be a developmental show, you're gonna get matches like this sometimes. This was really sloppy, and the last few minutes just saw them kind of botch one move after another. They just weren't on the same page, and Dakota Kai won with a big boot in the corner. Kai continued the beatdown after the match and put a table on top of Jade, but before she could put her through the table, she just started twitching, and what's happening? Not a big fan of this overacting, and I don't really understand the point of pushing Cora Jade for all those weeks, letting her rack up wins, and then just beating her in a squash. Frankly, I thought this whole segment was a bit of a mess. I'm gonna give this a 1 out of 5. We then had the following match as Zion Quinn took on Robert Stone in a singing competition. So, okay, here's the thing. Robert Stone came out and tried to sing Frankie Monet's music, and it was terrible. But then Zion Quinn said that he could one-up him and started singing Shawn Michaels' theme, and it was kind of great. This led to Stone jumping Quinn and Quinn beating him in a quick squash, and this would be the kind of thing that I would hate on this show. But for some reason I didn't. Maybe NXT 2.0 has actually just broken me at this point. I don't know what it was about this, but I couldn't bring myself to hate it. I have no idea what to rate this, but I got enjoyment out of it, so 10 out of 5. It was terrible. The next match saw Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner take on Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde. This match was pretty interesting. On one hand, you had Kyle O'Reilly doing his really cool technical wrestling and grappling and all that fun stuff. You know, the Kyle O'Reilly stuff. And you had Von Wagner showing off a lot of really cool power spots, suplexing both members of Legado del Fantasma at the same time. But this match was also just very unremarkable. Legado del Fantasma was able to get the win as Wilde rolled up Von Wagner after a miscommunication between him and Kyle O'Reilly, and I will bet dollars to donuts that tomorrow Pete Quinnell will say, it was fine. It was, though. It was fine. It was fine. I will probably never think about this match again, but I was thoroughly entertained is a strong word. My attention was held. It was fine. 3 out of 5. The next match was an open challenge from Andre Chase, and who would answer but the man of 1,000 look and nicknames, Braun Breaker. Chase got a little bit of offense in, but this was basically a squash for Braun Breaker, who got the win with his press power slam. After the match, he cut what I thought was a very convincing babyface promo, saying that he lost last week due to his inexperience, but there's nothing he hates more than losing, and one day he will be NXT champion. That's what I'm talking about. This promo helped get him back on track. He absolutely will be NXT champion before he gets called up. The match really wasn't anything, but the promo segment was solid. I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5. It was one of the better things on the show. We then got the in-ring debut of Solo Sikoa as he took on Jeet Rama in another squash match. Sikoa dominated the entirety of this very short match, getting the win with a top rope splash. I have no idea why he uses that move. What a mystery it is. There wasn't anything to this. It was so short. I have to give it a rating. It's a 2 out of 5, but Sikoa looks good. The next match saw Boa take on Grayson Waller. I used to like Boa. Now Boa can f*** off. The real focus of this match was LA Knight on commentary, and sure enough, just as Grayson Waller went for his second rope elbow drop, LA Knight distracted him, allowing Boa to hit a kick for the win. F*** off, Boa. After the match, Boa went backstage and did the fusion dance with Mei Ying or something because he had face paint on that he didn't have on before. F*** off. Tian Shaw's been going on for like a year. They haven't done anything with this group. I'm over it. I don't want to see it anymore. Move on. 1 out of 5. Forgettable match. Bad finish. Terrible booking. Over it. Off.
I'm sorry, Boa, it's not your fault.
We then had a promo from Tommaso Ciampa, who was quickly interrupted by Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, who came out for their main event match. They had a pretty good promo battle going back and forth, with Carmelo Hayes saying that as long as he's North American champion, he is the A-champ of NXT, while Tommaso Ciampa said that he is the god of NXT. As I'm recording this, the Braves just beat the Astros to win the World Series. Baseball. Ciampa said that Hayes doesn't even believe what he's saying, that if he's feeling froggy, he should jump, and Trick Williams tried to get in his face before Tommaso Ciampa decked him, effectively ending the segment. Ciampa was on his way out when Johnny Gargano made his way down to the ring. I don't know that I need to see another DIY match again, but I guess it'll help. This segment was fairly enjoyable. Carmelo Hayes and Tommaso Ciampa are both very good promos, and I would like to see Tommaso Ciampa face Carmelo Hayes for the NXT title at some point in the near future. It was pretty solid. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5. And then we got the main event as Johnny Gargano and Dexter Lumis took on Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. And eventually they settled in and had a really nice back and forth match that got This Is Awesome chants from the crowd. Trick Williams eventually hit Dexter Lumis with a shoe before being taken out with a suicide dive by Johnny Gargano, but it allowed Carmelo Hayes to hit his big top rope leg drop on Dexter Lumis for the win. I thought this was a perfectly adequate main event for NXT. I really am looking forward to seeing Carmelo Hayes and Johnny Gargano go one-on-one, and this match whet my appetite just the right amount. They definitely ended the show with the best match of the night. I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. Overall, I don't know what to give this episode of NXT. There were some good moments for sure, but there was a lot of filler and squash matches that just don't do anything for me. If I wasn't being paid to review it, I would probably turn off the show after the first few segments. Aside from that main event, there really wasn't much on this show to save it. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. And that just about wraps it up for me. If you want to hear more of my thoughts on this week's show, make sure you go over to WrestleTalk podcast later on today, where myself and the returning Pete Quinnell will be breaking down this entire episode of NXT 2.0 in complete detail. Until then, Brooks Jensen eats well-done steaks. What a freak.
Something that we all know is that the clue was, isn't that nice? This is this little mouse. Isn't that nice? And look where this person lives. It's like in the teapot with little toadstools.
Aww.
Isn't that nice?